One. How's it going, everyone? Mafar here. Welcome to Heliopolis Radio. We've been fortunate to be joined by Larry Oberheu. He's the founder of Freshmouth, an oral care company. He's here to share a bit about his company and not just that, but the importance of the products he's developed in which he sells and how they're unique compared to many other oral care projects out there, and specifically the constituents of the projects, why they're special and why they're really important to our health and our well-being. So without further ado, Larry, I hand it over to you. Tell us about yourself.
Great. Very, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And, appreciate the audience there for tuning in, and hopefully we can get to some good stuff.
No, no, sis.
Yeah. So, my company is Freshmouth. I kind of developed this, right around 2019 is pretty much when we kind of were putting everything together for the company and started doing a lot of real, deep digging and looking into the dental market and because kind of just decided to kind of step into that zone, but not really. I didn't really set out to make toothpaste. Let's put it that way. That was not a goal of mine. We really were just trying to put something together that we could market, because my previous background is in insurance, and I work with a lot of dental insurance companies, and it was just to create a product that we could market to the insurance companies. That was the goal. So we set out to find basically the best toothpaste out there. What's the best and why? And we would kind of include the best of the best of the best in the package. And so that's what took us down the road of looking at fluoride and some of the other chemicals and toxic things that are in toothpaste. And I have to say, I was pretty shocked. I mean, I had no clue of how bad it was. But that was kind of my first kind of look into fluoride and what it is, what it does, and how it affects our body. And none of it is good. So we've been sold a bill of goods that fluoride's good for us, it's healthy, it's a natural product, it's from the ground, and it's it gives us great teeth and good oral health care. I kind of believed that, so, but in checking into it, I found out that, fluoride is literally toxic waste.
Mm.
So that is not something that I thought that we were actually, ingesting and putting in our bodies was actual toxic waste. But this is extreme poison.
Mm.
Fluoride is the main ingredient in rat poison. In case you were wondering who the rats were, that would be all of us. Right. And it's a neurotoxin. It does affect the brain. It lowers IQ by as much as 20%. They did some recent studies in 2019 and 2022 that inexplicably proves that there is a definite correlation between IQ loss in children, ingesting fluoride. It is, like I said, a neurotoxin. It does destroy our brains. But not just children. I mean, we all have brains, or we hope we do, right? So we're all being affected by that. And but it goes deeper than that. So, when we ingest toxic waste, and when I'm saying toxic waste, I'm saying that fluoride is actually one of the most toxic substances on Earth.
Wow.
It is right behind, it's actually more deadly than cyanide. It is really bad. I mean, we're talking skull and crossbones, the whole shot. I mean,
Mm.
the EPA labels fluoride as hazardous waste material. And it comes from the production of phosphate fertilizer. So when they make things like Roundup in factories, the waste byproduct is fluoride. And they literally, it's the soot that accumulates in the stacks. They actually scrub the stacks, and then that powder, toxic chemicals are just taken and put right in our water and in our toothpaste, and we're told it's really good for our teeth. The only and I'll say this, the only benefit, and I use that term really loosely, is that fluoride does kill bacteria that causes tooth decay and gingivitis and things like that.
Mm.
And that's kind of what they hang their hat on. There's always got to be a little bit of truth in everything.
Mm.
So that would be the truth there is, yeah, it does kill the bacteria. Now it will kill you too. So that's beside the point. So I'm
Mm.
not advocating for fluoride. But one of the first things we did when we were looking in and said fluoride is so heinous to you, that we were looked at all natural toothpaste. And, we found out that that's not actually good for us either. So, which I was really shocked. I was like, wow, and that's strictly because the all natural stuff doesn't actually kill the bacteria. So
Mm.
we're just kind
Yeah.
of moving things around in our mouth, and not doing ourselves any good. Um, so those bacteria do need to be purged from our mouth, but we probably shouldn't use poison to do that. So that's kind of what led us to kind of create the program that we have, and we think that we have one of the best products on the market that actually is good for us, healthy for us, and does kill the bacteria and stuff. So
Mm.
um, and it's non-harmful to our body. So what we use is a nano silver, called, a lot of people may be familiar with colloidal silver.
Yes,
We do a
yes.
nano
Yeah.
silver. Yeah, colloidal silver has been around for, I think it dates back to actually ancient Egypt used
Mm.
silver
They
medicinally.
had a strong
So,
obsession with the metals, particularly gold, silver. I mean, but it was for them it was more metaphysical, if I understand. It was like an alchemical belief of how it affects our. I mean, if people are into those type of things, obviously, some people
mhm,
consider it pseudoscience, but I'm obviously open to because we're more than just our body. But apparently, our
right,
vibratory
absolutely,
signature was really, really enhanced or affected by kind of the materials or metals specifically that we
right,
interacted with. So it's interesting
right,
that
right.
you mentioned that for our toothpaste. And I guess I wanted to
Oh,
ask you if there's one question, is because I'm a huge advocate for, natural living, living in tune with what is actually what nature intended us to have. So
right,
you
right.
mentioned that a lot of the natural toothpastes we have, which some include charcoal, activated charcoal, mint, or whatever, sodium bicarbonate. Are you saying that those are completely ineffective, or they have their benefits, just not in a complete way that is beneficial for our mouth as a whole? If you just don't mind me asking that.
Right. Not that they're bad for us. A lot of them have good products in them, some good things. Like you mentioned, they're not harming us, and they do aid in cleaning, but they are unable to destroy the bacteria. Like I said, those that cause tooth decay, gingivitis, periodontal disease, which in defense of that, I mean, they're pretty difficult to kill. I mean,
Mm,
antibiotics have a very hard time killing those bacteria, so they are very difficult to kill. And all of us have different levels of toxicity in our bodies, in our mouth, and actually everybody processes toxins different. Some
mm,
process them way better. That's why you get some people that live to 90 and they smoked all their lives and they
mm,
never got lung cancer. That doesn't mean it was good for them. It just means that they process those toxins a lot better than the average person. But you also, on the other side of that, you brought up the spirituality and the gold, palladium, platinum, copper, silver. These are all what we call noble metals. You're right, been
mm,
around forever. Spirituality, they give a lot to us, in a lot of different fashions. Not only the spiritual aspect of it, but also healing. Each one
mm,
of those metals actually do a lot of different stuff in our body.
mm,
Silver happens to be one of the top ones. It does a lot of things. I mean, it it's a in the Bible we look at it.
mm,
It's a basically it's purity. So
mm,
silver is pure. That's why vampires can't see their reflection in mirrors. Mirrors used to be polished silver,
mm,
and they reflect purity. So evil doesn't reflect in them. Werewolf, silver bullet,
mm,
all that stuff. You know, uh, um, has that aspect to it there. But in our bodies, silver, it belongs in our body. Actually, all those metals are noble metals, which means they're minerals as well as metals.
mm,
That's not the case with everything, and they happen to be minerals we require. I mean, silver happens to be the top one. So silver boosts our immune system more than vitamin C does. So
Wow.
that's huge. So it's an immunity booster. And if you don't have silver or you have low concentrations of silver in your body, you tend to get sick more often.
Mm.
So higher concentrations make you more impervious to getting sick and live healthier lifestyles. The elites of the world, or the royalty,
Mm.
they've actually known this forever. I mean,
Mm.
the elites of the world consume silver on a daily basis, and a lot of it. That's what silverware was made for in the 1800s. Of course, it wasn't
Wow.
for us, the peasants. That was for only the elites.
Mm.
That's what they ate off of. They were actually consuming that silver. So silverware will the properties of that silver will get in.
Mm.
Microscopic nanoparticles will actually come off of that. They eat off of silver plates, drink out of silver goblets.
Mm.
Alexander the Great was quoted as saying that he would drink no wine or liquid out of a cup that wasn't silver. That's
Mm.
because of the properties that it had. So silver is actually the strongest killer of bacteria known to man. So there is not
Wow.
an antibiotic made today that can hold a candle to what silver can do as far as antibacterial, and that's factual. So
Mm.
the antibiotics are synthetic, patented chemical things that they can give us and make a lot of money on it because they patent them. Most of your prescription meds are derivatives of natural products that they can synthesize and then patent it and sell it to us. So
Mm.
so they're just recreating what nature's already done. So what are we doing that for? Let's just take the natural stuff, right?
Mm.
So prior to 1936, that's when we really did natural healing, the empirical health system. It was all natural. Back then, we cured people, we healed people. Those were words that we used. We don't even
Mm.
use those words today. As a matter of fact, you're not even allowed to. You start talking
Mm.
about healing people and curing people, well, you get in a lot of trouble. Um, so that's not what we do in medical today. We treat symptoms, because the symptoms create more symptoms and they don't get to the root cause. So we're not curing or healing because there's no money in cures. So if we
Mm.
cured everybody, I mean, how would they make any money? I mean, just a one
Mm.
and done kind of a thing. So and there's really not a lot of money in death either. So the money's all like keeping us right in that in between, right? Right between death and healthy, so that they can get us on medications and string us along. And eventually we do die from all these toxins that they pump into us. And they make money on that side. There is money in death as well. But
Mm.
none of this stuff, if we just go back to all the natural. So colloidal silver actually used to be our go-to for antibiotics. When you went to the doctor, they actually literally gave you colloidal silver.
Mm.
And we substituted that with the synthetic blends, with the Rockefeller Foundation, and the
Mm.
Western medicine came in, petroleum-based medicines.
Mm.
Um, Chemicals patented, all that stuff. And then they also moved into licensing. Like all the doctors had to be licensed. You have to have a specific license. You got to go through their schools to be trained
Mm.
to get that license. You can't. And now all our laws are kind of built around that. If you don't have a medical license, you can't heal people, you can't treat people. And if you're caught doing that, you can get in a lot of trouble because you don't have a medical license. And the medical field won't allow natural stuff because that's been blocked out. They won't test or get FDA clearance for anything natural, because that's part of the whole program. It's like that pushed all that stuff out. Now we can't use it. Doctors during COVID, some of them got in a lot of trouble for prescribing vitamin C, vitamin D, and silver. A lot of them were trying to push silver. And some of them lost their licenses over it and got
Mm.
banned. And this is, we had in the U.S. here, we had what they call the frontline doctors. They came out into Congress. A lot of them, I think there was like 20 or 30 of them, stood out and protested in front of Congress. No news station showed it, but basically they were saying that, hey, we're doctors, we're trying to treat our people. You can't tell us what to give people, but they certainly were. Silver was a big part of that because it's not only antibacterial, it's antiviral as well. So like we don't even have anything in our medical toolkit today to kill viruses. That's just something you just kind of gotta wait and let it get out of your system. But silver does kill viruses. Um, it also kills the bacteria, germs, viruses, and fungus. And it's a contact killer, so it kills on contact. So it doesn't take days, weeks, or months like antibiotics do. It kills immediately. But it also has got a very unique feature to it as well. Silver doesn't kill good bacteria in our bodies because, again, it's a mineral that our bodies are required to have. So it's designed to work with our body. That's how we're supposed to. So get to the spirituality part of it. Yeah, that silver belongs in us. We're electrical creatures. It actually helps stimulate electrical charge between our cells and things like that. But it also works well with our cells, our bacteria and stuff, because that's an ecosystem that, our bodies are designed to work, in conjunction with and everything there. So that's very unique. Silver kills the bad, not the good. I really don't know of another product that does that. Your golds, your palladiums and platinums and copper. Copper is also very beneficial for us. It is antibacterial as well, antiviral. That's why we used to have copper pipes in our water. We needed to intake that copper. They've done an amazing job demonizing copper and saying that people get copper poisoning and stuff. That is just not true. 98% of the world population is deficient in copper. And that's not good because when we're deficient in copper, we don't uptake other minerals such as magnesium and zinc. So if your
Yeah.
copper's low, you really don't get the benefit of some of those other things. So that's how intricate our body is, kind of that balancing there. We need these
Mm.
things. And that's why a lot of our minerals have been stripped out of our foods.
Mm.
So that's by design as well. A tomato today has, I think they said 100 less minerals than
I
20
I
years
saw
ago.
there was a documentary of the nutrient content decrease in our foodstuffs, and I was gonna ask if you don't mind me, how because I know with the fluoride topic, if you bring it into common circles, people will instantly consider it maybe some type of, conspiracy theory, and it's this, and I always go into the store. You look at big brands like Colgate, Sensodyne, approved by dentists.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you just look at the constituents and how much of it has fluoride. My question is just, how come if it's so toxic to our bodies, how come it has not been removed from modern day products? And I understand from the water purification side, they have their justifications, and it's actually mandatory. I think in almost every country now that in order for water to be considered fit for human consumption, it has to go through some type of filtration process, which involves chlorine and fluoride, unfortunately. So navigating through that hurdle is difficult. But in your opinion, or in your understanding, how come we're still subject to these toxins, even though we're more informed than ever? We have the research, we have the evidence. Is it a marketing thing? Is it a brand addiction thing? Is it willful ignorance? Is it corporate? I don't know what words you'd want to use, but how come the
Corporatocracy
populace?
is a good word. You can use that. That's part of it. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and there is a lot of rabbit holes there that you can go down in conspiracy theories and stuff. But I guess we'll try to stay out of some of those, stay out of the weeds a little bit. But yeah, it is not. First of all, what you said is it's part of our water purification system. There's only actually 33 countries in the world that fluorinate water. 97% of the world does not do it. The United States is the biggest pusher of it, and we do use it, yes. And we try to force other countries to do it as well. Most of them have not. And it's actually not a purification. They filter the water completely in its very end stage where all the filtration has already been done and we have clean water. That's where fluoride's added. So it's added after cleansing. So that has nothing to do with cleaning our water whatsoever. It's an
Mm.
additive that we're putting in there. And we're told that, hey, because of our health, it's for our teeth. It's healthy. It's keeping our teeth healthy. Well, first of all, if you just skip everything, all the conspiracies and everything, I mean, it's basically medicinal at that point, or for what they're saying it is, that it helps, but it would be something not natural that we're actually putting in, so it's like a medicine.
Mm.
When would we mass medicate masses? Because we don't know fluoride affects children differently than it does adults. It affects females differently than it does males. So everybody's a little bit different. Females, actually, it attacks the thyroid.
Mm.
Thyroid disorders are huge in the United States. 7 out of 10 women have thyroid disorders. That's literally caused by fluoride. Fluoride attacks their thyroid. In men, it attacks our hypothalamus and our brains, and it
Jeez.
actually causes ADD in men. So
Yeah.
that's why all our kids are on, Ritalin and Concerta and
Mm.
all these,
Mm.
ADD medications. It's because of the fluoride. So everybody's a little different. That'd be like saying, a blood pressure medication that was helping people, for the sake of whatever, we'll just say that it was. My blood pressure, your blood pressure, everybody's blood pressure is different. I don't have high blood pressure, so why would I take it? You might have it. You might need 4 or 5 times the dose of somebody that has a minor one. So why would we take heart medication and dump it into our water to treat people with high blood pressure? Well, everybody doesn't need that. Why would we do it? It's the same thing with fluoride. So if we're actually going to say it's good for us and it's good orally and it helps, everybody's not different, or everybody's different, and everybody's at different stages. Why would we just put a one dose for everyone in there? The fact of the matter, it's just not true. It is highly toxic. It's actually, they base everything off of one study that was done in 1940 by Dr. Hodges. You can look that up. Dr. Hodges is coined as the father of fluoride. And he was actually tasked by the military to find a positive outcome for fluoride. Now, let me tell you, during his, trying to find that out, he killed so many animals, dogs, you name it.
Wow.
And then he started testing on people. He killed his wife. That's actually a true story. Killed his
Wow.
wife. Fluoride, she was killed for fluoride poisoning. What he was trying to do was find a safe dosage of fluoride that wouldn't kill you immediately. And see, that's the problem with fluoride. It is so toxic that it kills everybody, kills animals, everything. So trying to get that down to a point where you could give it to something and not die, that was his goal, which he found that 0.07 parts per million, that won't kill you. Immediately, it won't kill you. But that's what they had, where he was trying to find, is that level where it's not to the point where it's going to kill you today, but it does shorten your life expectancy. So, Dr. Burke, back in the 50s, he actually was quoted as saying that fluoride causes more human cancer death and causes it faster than any other chemical. Now, this was back in the 50s. They laughed at him, of course. They said he was a nut job and everything else. He was actually vindicated in 2014. It was actually 100% true. Everywhere that fluoride is introduced that it wasn't there before, cancer rates increased by 1,000%. That is huge. In the past 30 years, more people have died from cancer connected to fluoride than all the deaths of military personnel in the United States.
Wow.
In every
Wow.
war, fluoride has
Wow.
killed more people. So, yeah, not healthy, not good for us, shouldn't be there. As a matter of fact, they just won a case 2024, and they're actually, a judge ruled from the EPA that they had to take the fluoride out of the water, that it presented too big of a risk. So it has been beaten in court. They're very slow getting it out, but it has been beaten and it is proven. So, fluoride side effects are huge. I mean, number one, you talk about spirituality, it calcifies the pineal gland. So it
Mm.
cuts off our connection to source, or our creator, because it does do that. And this is fact. This isn't BS. I mean, it calcifies the pineal gland. So that is an important part of our brains that is being destroyed through fluoride. But it also absorbs in our teeth and in our bones. Fluoride is so toxic that our brains actually dictate when we ingest it. Like, hey, wait, we just took poison. This isn't good. We need our bones to absorb it all, so it doesn't destroy our soft tissue. So our bones absorb it. Now, some of our organs also do, our kidneys. Um, some physicians are now stating that fluoride is probably the number one cause of kidney disease. So it destroys our kidneys because that soft tissue, it really damages them. And these are all things that are proven. They've done studies on this. Bone fluorosis is a big deal too, because as we're absorbing all this fluoride, and then we keep taking it in, it's in our water, it's in our toothpaste, it's in our cookware. Teflon pans are fluoride as well. So we're ingesting a lot more than the safe legal doses that we're told that is. And this is what causes, now they're saying that bone fluorosis is basically bone cancers, arthritis, osteoarthritis, joint pain, and so forth. This is all caused by fluoride. We're just told it's old age. Oh, you're just getting older. That's the way it is. No. Our great grandfathers were out in the fields plowing, by hand, right? They didn't have all this pain and stuff. They were pretty healthy and strong. But yeah, it's damaging us. And the number one cause of tooth decay in America is fluorosis. That's literally caused by fluoride. Nothing else causes it. So, and since 1940, dental caries or cavities have sharply increased, not decreased. So if it was healthy, if it was good for us, and it was helping, our dental situation should have went down, and our oral health care should have increased. No, it's done quite the opposite. I talked about the military a little bit. So this is a little known fact, and you really got to dig deep on it. But fluoride basically is a military industrial complex product, because fluoride enriches uranium. What that means, bombs don't blow up without fluoride. So we need fluoride to make bombs. And so from the military's point of view, hey, we had an arms race in the 40s. We're trying to make a lot of bombs, and so was the rest of the world. But the rest of the world also knew that you needed to use fluoride. A lot of their citizens were dying. Cancer rates increased, all kinds of stuff. So they had to stop doing it. But the United States, no, we said, we got this. Don't worry, we're doubling down. So they hired Edward Bernays. You talk about propaganda. They hired Edward Bernays, which was Sigmund Freud's nephew. And he started a propaganda campaign against the American people, or for fluoride to the American people, to basically sell a bill of goods that fluoride was good for us and it was good for our teeth. They, I don't know if you've ever, seen some of the montages that they have, like over COVID, you have all these news people saying, oh, it's safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective, over and over and over again, just playing in their minds. And every station, but people have put a montage together of all this, safe and effective BS, which we know was. But they did that back then. I mean, there's a montage of clips from the 50s of the exact same thing. Oh, fluoride is safe and effective. It's safe and effective. Say everywhere you turn, everybody's saying it, everybody's saying it, everybody's saying it. So, if you repeat it enough times, it must be true, right? So that's where that caught on, that propaganda. We were sold a bill of goods that this is safe and effective, it's good for us. So guess what happens when somebody got cancer or died from fluoride poisoning, took them to court, the court would just throw it out because they'd say, hey, come on, it's in our water. Get out of here. We've already discussed this. It's safe and effective. Everybody agrees with that. Well, there's a lot of disagreements, but it's just never gotten traction. Getting a lot more now. But yeah, I mean, it's just really, really bad for our bodies in a lot of ways. But again, like I said, your all natural stuff doesn't really do a great job for us either. And that's where, like, the silver is healthy for us, and it's, it does kill those bacteria. Like I said, silver is the strongest killer of bacteria, so it kills that stuff without damaging our bodies. It actually boosts our immune system. And silver was under attack after, like I said, 1936 is we were just using silver as a main component. Well, when they were pushing out, silver was a big part of their push to get rid of that. So they wanted to get silver out of the market. They tried to remove it from the market multiple times. The FDA tried, the pharmaceutical companies did as well. But since it was actually labeled as a medicine prior to 1936, they can't eliminate it completely. So, but they have a limit. They've reduced it down to a supplement. So you really can buy it in supplement stores. You supplement with it, and you can't make medical claims on it. So that's what it's been reduced to. But they do use silver in the medical field for healing, so wound healing. So silver heals wounds faster than anything. If you have a cut, you put silver on it, it heals really quick. And it also, like on burn victims, they use silver nitrate, which is silver, and that actually regrows the skin tissue. So it has regenerative features as well. So silver is really amazing if you think all these great things that it does. So in when we put it in the toothpaste, we really started having some pretty amazing things happen. And really, at the start of it, I just put it in toothpaste. It was more for the antibacterial aspect because I knew it did that. So that was it. All this other stuff started happening though. Like I had receding gums in my back. I had very sensitive teeth. My teeth hurt when I brushed them. And that was because of the roots being exposed from the receding of the gums, and the roots get exposed there. But not only that, thinning of the enamel causes sensitivity and stuff. So, when we were making the toothpaste, of course, I was testing it, and I had some friends of mine. We were passing it out. Everybody was trying different flavors, stuff like that. And I've been using it for a good couple months. And during that time, I didn't realize it, but my teeth weren't sensitive anymore. So it completely took the sensitivity away in my teeth. I had no idea. It was just kind of one of those things. I didn't realize it until somebody said something. And then it was probably around the 8, 9, 10 months later, something like that. I went to the dentist just for my regular cleaning and stuff. And the dentist said, wow, he's like, what are you doing anything different? And I was like, as in, and he goes, your receding gums, because they check those, the pockets. I was like 5s, which is not good. So I think 6 is the worst you can get. So he's like, your recessions they're at a 3. And I was like, and that's good, because he had this real concerned look on his face, like, whoa. And he goes, well, yeah, it's good. He goes, but it's not possible. He goes, yeah, your gums don't regrow. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and he's like, well, whatever you're doing, keep it up. He's like, so whatever. I'm driving home, and that's when I was like, I do it different. And then I just kind of hit me. I was like, could it have been the toothpaste? I was like, there's no way that happened. And then I started realizing my sensitivity. I don't even have any sensitivity anymore. So I actually went back and really started researching a bunch of stuff. Well, it turns out that actually nano silver is what we did. There's tons of clinical studies on it right now, or back then, still is now. That it actually regrew the enamel. It actually stimulated enamel growth, which is unheard of, and gum tissue. So I was like, wow, I've like actually have firsthand, experience that this actually did it. And there's a lot of studies on it. So it actually regenerates enamel growth, and it heals our gum tissue as well, and reverses that. Now, we've even had like, this was myself as well. I used to travel quite a bit before COVID to the Philippines. I had business out there. We were using call centers and stuff. It was in insurance. So we were doing a lot of work out there with call centers. And I used to get like a lot of my dental done there because it's super cheap. I mean, you go to the dentist, it's like $10 for a cleaning. It's like nuts. And if you have a cavity, which I don't have any cavities, I never had one, but I mean, they're like $20 to fill a cavity. It's $300 here. So I get a cavity, and I go in, the doctor's like, well, you got a cavity, which probably, fill that. And I was like, okay. And he's like $300. And I'm like, you know what? I said, maybe we'll wait on that. I'll go to the Philippines. I'll just get it fixed out there.
Yeah.
Well, then COVID happened, of course. Then I didn't go to the Philippines.
Yeah,
I was kind of blocked out of there completely. That kind of really, took us for a turn in a lot of things we were doing. But so again, there I didn't realize that I didn't go. So 4 or 5, 6 months go by. I go to the dentist again, and he checks the tooth for the cavity, and he's like, "Well, what did you do?" And I was like, I didn't do nothing. And he goes, well, the cavity's gone.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
I was like, did I hit my cavity? I was like, holy cow. But I mean, since then, so obviously we put the product out there. We started, having lots of people call us or leave us, testimonials, calling us, letting us know that they
Mm.
had cavities that literally healed over in about 4 to 6 weeks. Gum tissue
Wow.
regeneration in about 6 to 8 months.
Jesus.
Experienced it even myself. So, I mean, it literally heals our teeth. Sensitivity, you mentioned Sensodyne.
Mm.
That stuff is a temporary fix. So it's a microfiller toothpaste. It microscopic particles in our teeth because they're porous under a microscope. Those little microscopic particles plug those
Mm.
up so that we don't have the sensitivity. Now it's temporary. You stop using that stuff, they fall out, and then you have sensitive teeth again.
Mm.
Whereas the silver actually re-stimulates the growth of the enamel, so it heals it permanently. It's like, even if you stop using it, it doesn't come back. It's like it's healed. Of course, you want to keep using it. It's good stuff. It does other things. We're really not like a problematic toothpaste. We're an everyday toothpaste. The more you're using it, the better you're doing for your body, because you're actually getting the silver in your body, boosts your immune system. It's killing the bad stuff, not the good stuff. It creates a really healthy mouth biome that's really second to nothing out there. But then it heals, it regenerates our teeth, our gums, all that stuff. And we're the only product on the market that nanoparticles actually can penetrate gum line, go below gum, eradicate bacteria below gum, like gingivitis and periodontal disease and stuff like that. Which currently we don't have a way to do that. They got to cut your gums open if it's got a bad case to scrape all the bacteria out. Our toothpaste does it for you without cutting your gums open. And then lastly, I guess, your plaque and tartar buildup, which is a lot of people go to the dentist to get that scraped off. And I had an issue with that. That's why I went twice a year to get that off of there. And I hated that part, like scraping, and it's terrible.
Very, very
But
uncomfortable process that is.
exactly, it's just terrible. It's even, I think it's just, it's not that it's even the sound of it is really bad.
Very,
It's just, I
very
can't
beautiful.
stand it.
Torture.
Yeah, it is torture. But with now I haven't been to the dentist in about 5 years, and I'm not bragging about that. But I have zero plaque, zero tartar. So regular use of silver toothpaste, plaque and tartar can't grow, because the
Wow.
plaque and the tartar are actually caused by bacteria, bad bacteria
Yeah,
in our
they're
mouth.
my
Combines three
gums.
of them: streptococcus, mutant salivus, and bacillus.
Mhm.
They form that hard plaque on our teeth. Well, silver kills all three. So if you're using it on a regular basis, plaque can't adhere to our teeth. So it really eliminates a lot. That's why dentists don't like us too much. So it kind of eliminates a lot of their gig there. Um, but
So,
that's just it. It's just like the medical field as well. I mean, we're not healing, we're not curing. Why? Because there's money in it. The same with our teeth. We're not healing your teeth. We're not helping them heal. We're not doing any of this stuff because it makes them money. Now, I am not saying that dentists are evil people and they're out to get us, but they've been taught this, and the people who taught them, I think they're evil. Okay, so they know these things. So because there's studies out there. These studies are out there. They know it. They know that this does it, but they're not going to put it out for common use because, hey, I mean, cleanings are a big deal. That dentists make a lot of money on that on a regular basis. Cavities, I make $300 to fill a cavity. I mean, that's a lot of money. And of course, they're causing the cavity by the fluoride and causing gum recession, causing dis-ease in our mouths, so that they can fix it. And again, this is, I'm not saying that dentists are bad people. They've just been indoctrinated into the case that they think that this is just the norm. It's like we've been sold a bag of goods. Hey, as we get old, we get joint pain, arthritis, and you get old and you can't walk straight anymore. That's just what happens. No, that's because we're being poisoned on a regular basis. It is not because it's just that's the way it goes. So, and I think a lot of people are waking up to this nowadays that, hey, not everything that, we're being fed as a bill of goods to us is necessarily good for us or good for our body. So,
no, I completely, you shared so many, I mean, each thing that you shared is a pocket, as you mentioned, a loophole in of itself. So obviously, for time's sake, we can't get lost in it, but there's a lot that you've brought up, not just in terms of our societal structure and how completely clueless most of us are, because a lot of what you brought up today It's actually absolutely shocked me to the core. A lot of it very morbid, very terrible. I didn't even know. I just understood that it was not really particularly good from what I was told, but now having you explain in depth just how disruptive it is to our balance and our health as a whole, I guess I would ask is how would you envision incorporating your products into daily life and obviously the practicality of it as well, because obviously I'm based here in South Africa. So
Yeah.
that's one hurdle in of itself. So in terms of
Right.
marketing your product, getting it onto shelves and getting the necessarily awareness for it, how have you envisioned that process yourself, or how would you like to go about making sure that people not only are not skeptical of what you're providing them, but are able to incorporate it into their daily lives in terms of affordability? Because I know the first thing, yeah, if I was to tell the person outside on the street, hey, stop buying fluoride-based toothpaste, is like, do you know how much I earn in a day? Do you know how much money I have? That is the last of my concerns. Death
Right.
by fluoride is a quicker death than, all the other struggles that I have to face with on a daily
And not
basis.
being able
And
to pay your mortgage and stuff.
yeah,
Right.
so
Exactly.
it's a whole mentality thing. So I'm just wondering how you have decided to go about making sure this product gets the necessary uh, reception and that it's a practical access for the average person, considering the economy we're living in, the day-to-day struggles. I mean, it's a lot that obviously goes into it, right? So,
Right. No, no, exactly. Well, I mean, as people like yourselves, I mean, I do try to do podcasts, kind of get the
mm,
awarenesses out there. We do a lot of trade shows and stuff around
mm,
the US anyway. We do trade shows usually almost every weekend. We'll go out and kind of raise awareness and stuff like that. But it is difficult. I mean, we're first of all going up against a major, huge corporation conglomerate. Toothpaste
mm,
is a monster. I mean, there's only four companies in the entire world that control the toothpaste market. So that's
mm.
how big that is. And you notice again, you just mentioned it about the fluoride in the toothpaste. The fluoride toothpaste is the cheapest toothpaste out there. So
Mm.
you buy toothpaste for a couple bucks, right, or $1 even in some cases. The fluorinated ones, all the all natural stuff. Heck, no, that stuff's a little bit more
It's
expensive.
just, yeah.
Yeah, so you're fighting against a lot of different things here.
Mm,
It's the cost, because obviously we're more expensive. Those
mm,
fluoride and everything else, they're subsidized. They get money to help buy down those costs on it, so that it's cheaper for the masses. So
mm,
this is all intentional. So that's kind of your go-to, and then of course you got your dentists that are out there populating that. Hey, fluoride's great.
mm,
And we're hearing this over and over again, and so we have our professionals, or the people we look up to, that for our mouth and our mouth health, they're telling us it's great for us, and of course the government's saying it's great for us, and toothpaste companies are saying it's great for us, and so there's a lot to try to kind of break through and chip through. But luckily there's a lot of people that are kind of waking up to the fact that, hey, everything the government does for us is not for our better good. So
mm,
they're not looking out for you. And corporations are definitely not looking out for you either. They're looking out for their bottom line,
mm,
cheaper, and how much money they can put in their pockets and make for their shareholders. So that's what it's about. And we're left as basically the pawns or whatever out there, kind of absorbing all this stuff. So, but
mm,
I think that there's a huge kind of an awakening. People are kind of waking up to that, can go, hey, just because they say it's great for us does not mean it is.
mm,
Doing a little bit of their own research and finding out things, like a lot of things. Like I start telling people that fluoride is toxic waste. It's literally a byproduct of manufacturing fertilizer in factories. People are just like, that's not true. And yeah, I get a lot of people just say you're flat out lying. I'm like, look it up. Like that's what it is. And but even that stuff, a lot of covered up. I mean, you Google, which everybody Googles, right? If you Google fluoride, I mean, yeah, it's just bombarded by nothing but great stuff. So that's intentional. So you got
mm.
to really, really dig deep and get down, off the first couple pages, and really get deeper. Use a different search engine is what I recommend. But to get down and really find that stuff, but it's there, and it's
Mm,
not fringe and conspiracy stuff. This is actual scientific proven stuff.
mm,
But when they prove this stuff scientifically in studies and everything, they don't get the attention. They just kind of get washed out and kind of just belittled, and oh, that's like pseudoscience, and that's like blah blah blah, this and that, that's conspiracy stuff. And for the most part that works. So yeah, I mean, shows like yourself getting out there trying to educate people, and getting them and doing trade shows and stuff, that's a big part of it. And I can tell you, just interacting with people all the time, more and more people are definitely waking up to the fact that yes, this is not good for us, and we need other alternatives. And people don't realize too that our mouth is it is so important to our overall health. I mean, it's the epicenter of wellness. I mean, if you're not healthy in your mouth and you have mouth problems, you are going to have problems in your body somewhere. Chronic disorders almost always are linked to our mouth. There's a lot of physicians that believe that like 80% of chronic illness starts in the mouth. Wow. And I'm a firm believer of it, because every single tooth, they have what they call the tooth meridian chart.
Yes, I've seen it. The one which
yeah,
is
you can Google that and find it.
And certain things like that.
Every single organ is connected to a body, so, or to an organ and a function, our teeth. So if we got decay and bacteria and germs that are going down into our teeth, and in the rotten and things like that, that's seeping right into our bodies, and that causes havoc depending on where it lands. An example of this, they just finished a recent study in 2019, so it's pretty recent. They took 1,000 women with breast cancer, just a random selection, and they did some investigating. They found that 90% of those 1,000 women had they all had breast cancer, but they all had either root canals or cavitations, which is an infection in the tooth or below gum, in the second or the third molar on the top side on either side, which is directly connected to the mammary gland on women, and men too. But so that was huge in itself, 90%. But then you take it a step further. Whatever side it was on was the side they had the breast cancer on. That was almost 100% of the time. So wow, I mean, you really put those stats down there, and it's like, that is huge. So that is a direct correlation between our our teeth and something in our body. Also, that about 30% of heart disease patients can be linked back orally, and believe it or not, just a toothbrush. A toothbrush is one of the filthiest things in our house, more bacteria than our toilet, and we stick it in our mouth every day, not thinking about it.
I actually wanted to ask you a question with regards to the toothbrush. So, in terms of quality control, most people, all the commercial toothbrushes that we buy in your store, and they all have like a brand attached to them. How safe are they to be used just once in general, and then in recurring use as well? And if they're not safe, because I saw on your website you have your own product that you've developed, just how frequently must we replace our toothbrushes, just from a health perspective sense and from your understanding of the subject?
Well, we recommend every month, so you shouldn't keep them more than a month. And actually, the American Dental Association, which I don't think knows much, but they even recommend every 3 months. But it's every 3 months, or when the bristles fray. Now, let me tell you something. If you brush your teeth every day, your bristles are going to fray within about 3 to 4 weeks. Period. Wow. So therefore, that means every month. That's what the American Dental Association says. When they fray, and they'll fray after a month of brushing, then they need to be replaced every month. But if you look deeper into that, the average toothbrush has about 100 million strands of bacteria living in it. Sheesh. And it expands like unbelievable rates that this bacteria grows in those. And you then take out where the toothbrush is. It's in our bathroom. When you flush the toilet, aerosols, particles go up in there. 80% of toothbrushes have fecal matter on them. That's a fact. And if you share a bathroom with somebody, 90% of the time it's going to be somebody else's. So there's that. And that bacteria spreads and then grows and then intermingles. And then we just have this massive petri dish of really bad stuff. And then we're sticking it in our mouths. I mean, if you Google, is my toothbrush making me sick? Yeah, you're going to get a lot of bad stuff that comes in on that. I mean, sore throats, canker sores, intestinal issues are very common. We just don't
Mm.
realize it, keep infecting ourselves. But that they did a study in the hospital 30% of heart disease patients can be linked back to the toothbrush.
Mm.
People have actually died from brushing their teeth from the bacteria on a toothbrush. Now, that is super rare. I'll say that out there right now. But the point is that it happened.
Mm.
I mean, somebody died from brushing their teeth because it was infected with so much bacteria. So that's huge. I mean, so that's what we say. Hey, you should replace them every month. You should clean them every day and not rinsing them off with water.
Is UV
So we have
sterilization an ideal method?
we use UV sterilization. So UVs will kill almost all the bacteria on it. For our manual toothbrushes, we have a portable one that you put it in there.
Mm.
You close it, it cleans your brush in 5 minutes. You just kind of put it in, walk away. So that way you're having a nice clean toothbrush every day after every brushing.
Mm.
And then we actually do a subscription program, for people that want to do it. But we send a new one every month. We'll send you the toothpaste, toothbrush, mouth rinse, our floss. Tyler will deliver that right out. Not like you don't buy it anyway. We just drop it off for you.
Mm.
In there's because a lot of people don't realize or remember the last time they changed their brush. So again, we just do it for you. We send it out. Some people are really good about it. Some people are bad. But even your Sonic toothbrushes, we do Sonic as well. Those should be changed every month. Now you go to Philips Sonics. They're the number one Sonic toothbrush out there, but Sonic is actually the best toothbrush for your mouth. They're less abrasive on our teeth. You can hit
Mm.
gum line. It doesn't tear up gum tissue. Doesn't actually perpetuate, receding gums, which manual toothbrushes do.
Mm.
So they're really healthy for us. We do have our own line as well. But Philips charges like $20 for a head. So if you're going to change your toothbrush head every month on that, it's $20,
Mm.
which is expensive, so our whole kit for our electrics are $21.95. So we give you the head, we give you our toothpaste, our mouth rinse, and floss delivered to your house for what Philips Sonic charges you for a head. So we try to make it really affordable because we're direct to consumer. We'll make it easy for you, so you don't got to remember the last time. We just send it out for you. And everything in them is, kind of basically designed to be a month, but some people can stretch it out. That's why we do 2 and 3 months and stuff too. But like our main component is, like I said, the toothpaste. We have a rinse, which we recommend to use with the toothpaste, because the rinse, after you brush with the silver actually does some really great things in our mouth, and it actually impregnates in the skin, and it stays there for about 7 to 8 hours, destroying bacteria. But again, it's only the bad stuff, so it doesn't even allow the bad stuff to grow back, which is really awesome. So the last thing you want to do is, after you brush, rinse it out with water and spit everything down the drain, out of the
Mm.
excess. So our rinse is kind of an after rinse. So after you brush, ours is a concentrate. You put about 4 to 5 drops in about an ounce of water, and you rinse with that. So that enhances the silver levels rather than rinsing them away. You can actually swallow that. Nano silver passes digestion, again, in our gut, kills the bad, not the good, promotes a healthy gut as well. So there's some additional benefits to it. But even like when you go to bed at night, if you brush your teeth before you go to bed, which everyone should, but when you wake up in the morning, you really don't even have a morning breath, because the silver toothpaste is still in there, still working, and destroys that
Mm.
bacteria while we're sleeping even. So
Mm.
it really, really keeps our mouth, our biome super healthy, which in it, it is really beneficial for our entire body, because again, that's where kind of wellness starts. And our mouth biome feeds our gut biome, which we
Mm.
know our gut biome is super important, but that's actually started here. So the more healthy, the better we have that good bacteria and stuff that feeds our gut biome as well.
Wow. No, Larry. Firstly, I'm obviously monitoring the time, not to keep you here too long. This has been one of the most informative podcasts I've had, just in terms of really a lack of awareness into the importance of our dental health, and more importantly, of just the products that we consume. I guess, is there like the two last questions I asked? The first one is, in terms of getting your product, is it accessible to people outside of the US? Do you ship internationally? Are you are looking to tap into different markets, or right now you're concentrating your efforts into establishing a local market first, and then building upon that at a later stage?
Yeah, we're pretty much, just US based right now, but we do
Mm,
ship all over the world.
mm,
We're getting a lot more orders from, I mean, Africa, we ship to them, Australia, the UK, Singapore, and the Philippines. We have some. So where our distribution is growing internationally, and we
mm,
do ship internationally. Obviously, it's not ideal because
mm.
there is some higher shipping costs
Yeah,
involved.
100%.
But we do ship, and what we'll do is we'll usually do, like, we have some bulk items that will bulk so that you're not having to, like, obviously we're not going to do a monthly subscription to South Africa, but you could buy easily a year supply, and we discount that down, or a six
Ah, yeah,
month or a
yeah,
3 month,
makes sense.
whichever. So we
Mm,
try to make it pretty affordable. We are definitely looking for partners, in different countries that we can
mm,
kind of partner up with, that we can actually get distribution in some of those. That's something that we're just now starting, but we're a relatively new company right now. We're about 4.5 years old. And we're just starting to take some roots here really strong, and
mm.
starting to look into, like, kind of expanding, globally as well.
That's exciting stuff. And obviously, all the best with it. I think what you've designed is simple enough to be so effective, which is what I think is probably going to be the success behind the product. Is it's not rocket science. It's not overwhelming. It's just, again, getting people to understand and having the awareness and receptivity to what you're providing, and actually shifting their lifestyles for the better. That's always the difficult part. But then I guess the last question I'm going to ask is, what are your words of wisdom and advice for the audience tuning in today?
Advice for the audience.
Your words of wisdom and advice. I always ask it at the conclusion of every podcast. I know. So it's a bit separate from what we've been talking about, but I think it does kind of coincide.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely, get off of fluoride, as soon as you can. That's in getting it out of your life. And I mean, like I said, I'm not sure if Africa fluorinates or not. I'm really not
Oh, we
sure.
do. We do
uh,
know we have
we
a
do,
very,
okay,
very,
yeah.
very,
So
very.
I mean, it is difficult because it's in our water. Like I said, that's a little more difficult than the toothpaste is easy. I mean, you can get rid of the toothpaste. That's your kind of your low hanging fruit, to get that out, and that'll make a big difference. And our product's a little bit harder to get in there, but we do, like I said, we do ship internationally, so we can do that. In water, you can also get filters that will filter the fluoride out of water. We actually do water machines as well, so water is part of
Wow.
our program as well. We do have a reverse osmosis system that takes the fluoride out of water,
Wow.
and it hydrates the water as well. So I mean, those are areas we're trying to help and get things out there like that too. But in your local area, I'm sure there's some reverse osmosis, or distillers is also, they're pretty cheap. You can get a distillation pretty cheap. That also removes fluoride. So that would be try to get something where you're getting that healthy water, because our
Mm,
bodies need that. So you kind of take it in stages. Even myself, the toothpaste, I kind of moved to, I had a water machine, and then we eventually got a reverse osmosis for the
mm,
house, so that we're not bathing in it and stuff. But it's all stages, because you
mm,
can't just run out and spend all kinds of money
mm.
we don't have to try to kind of kind of offset some of this stuff. But start at the low hanging fruit. Like I said, the
Mm.
toothpaste is the easy one. And again, like I said, we do, you can just go right to our website, freshmouth.club, and order it, and we will ship to Africa or any of the other countries and stuff like that too. And hopefully we can get some partnerships with some different some of these other countries, where we can get the product in there and make it more accessible for the masses.
Wow, no. It's been incredible having you on, Larry. Thank you so much for giving your time. It's been very informative, very, very important. And obviously, I'll do my best as a podcaster to market what you've developed. I think it's very, very, very unique, and I think it's actually very important, particularly now in, a health-centered type of age we're living in, where people care about themselves again, hopefully.
Right.
So, no, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and looking forward to keeping in touch.
Sounds good, Mafar. I appreciate it. And you take care too. Have a great day.
No worries.